Hello, welcome back to The Reading Mama. This is Heather, and I'm going to share another author spotlight today. Today I have a indie Christian author who writes fantasy, often dark fantasy. So I'm going to start with where I started. Let's do that. So I started with her biblical retellings. They are biblical retellings that are dark fantasy. Very weird genre. And I did not know what I was getting into because I started with The Crown of Chains, which is a Esther retelling, Queen Esther in the Bible, and tells the story of a young girl, Jewish girl, who lives in Persia. And when the king gets mad at his wife, he divorces her, exiles her, and then he rounds up all the women in Persia, most beautiful women in Persia, to come and possibly become the next queen. And they go through a whole bunch of beauty rituals, and then he chooses them. You may have seen such really great movies like One Night with the King. Does a phenomenal job. This is a dark fantasy retelling of it, just showing that it is not the wonderful beauty contest. You know, that this would have been a really horrible thing. They were taken from their families. They were asked to possibly do things, I don't know, things that you don't do until you're married, or possibly even forced to do these things, and all kinds of different concepts like that. So it gets really dark, very heavy. I would definitely recommend this for 18 and up, not below. Because that concept, it also is a fantasy. So you have fairy in it, and I was not prepared for that. Like the first time I got to it, I was like, wait, what am I reading? And so, yeah, just in case you're going in blind like I did, know that that's what's going on. It is very heavy. There are a lot of dark concepts. That said, I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. But if it's a trigger warning for you, I would caution. I would read it with caution. I did find it just beautiful. Whoops, my space ran out. So anyways, but I really highly recommend it, but it is dark. So there's that caveat. Then I read her Ruth retelling, A Bond of Briars, which I think this one is more a balance of fantasy and biblical fiction, whereas Crown of Chains was very heavy on the fantasy side and very dark, and with nuances towards the biblical side of it. I don't know, but that's just me. It could be pretty even. I don't know. Anyways, this one's a little less dark. But you follow, if you don't know, Ruth is a daughter-in-law to Naomi. She is a Moabitess, and Naomi is an Israelite. She comes to Moab when there's a famine. Her children marry, and then they go back. When her sons die, she takes her daughter back. She doesn't want to, but she takes her daughter back to Israel, and they face hardships and stuff there as widows in a country during a certain time. Anyways, this follows that. They're in very much the same concept, and the Naomi character is in how do you say it? They're in Croitha, and I don't remember. It's like Caroline or something like that. And so in that country, where the main character, the Ruth character, is from, magic is allowed, and they summon spirits and things like that. So it does get a little dark. But when they return to Croitha, the Naomi characters, it's outlawed, and so there's a balance of that because she's one of those who can wield it, and everybody knows it, and there's a stigma, all these things, and they see the benevolence and kindness of a creator God who has looked out for them and made a way for them as they follow after him. Very, very well done, but it is a little bit dark also, so keep that in mind. Then, in my effort to read her to zero, I have 2 books yet to read, and those are her first 2 books, The Keeper and the Varken. And these are Tales from Eviryia. We're going to say Eviryia. That's how we're going to pronounce it. I have no clue about these. They're just fantasies. I don't know. They're a little thicker, so I'm excited to jump into those this summer and read this author to zero, because that leads me to my favorite books by her. I'm not going to lie. I really like The Crown of Chains. It's dark. I don't know what that says about me, but she is currently working on a trilogy, the Grimoire and Key trilogy, and it is a Count of Monte Cristo retelling, and it is phenomenal. Now, I've talked about this on a lot of videos, so I'm not going to try to belabor this, but this is a video spotlighting Erin, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit. So in the Betrayal of Eden, you follow 2 characters. You follow Eden, who is a young girl from the South Bout. She's the poor part of town, and she's trying really hard to move up in the world. Her mother died when she was young. Her father's a sailor, don't make a lot of money. They've just been very impoverished. So she gets a really great job in an academy, and she's trying to work her way up. While there, and through some other family connections, she has met the most eligible bachelor in high society, and he is trying to rebel against his mom and has chosen her as his girlfriend. And so she's trying to climb professionally, climb socially, and she's a little naive. She doesn't understand all the things that are going on around her, and people take advantage of her. And then everything goes chaos. It just becomes chaos for Eden. And she ends up as, hopefully this is not a spoiler. I'm sorry if it is. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. She ends up in prison, okay? Because it's kind of Monte Cristo. And since we're gender swapping, she's the one who becomes the count. So will she become the countess in the third one? I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, but yeah, her life ends on a major cliffhanger. There's another point of view, which is Hunter, who is an indentured servant. His father was dabbling in the magic of this realm, and things went haywire and backfired on him. And now his son is an indentured servant for a really bad guy and his family. And he and Eden brush paths briefly. But you kind of walk through this being like, what is the connection here? And, you know, obviously we're leading up through a trilogy. But you follow Hunter as he just deals with world with a chip on his shoulder and just struggling with everything. He's mad at being an indentured servant. He's mad at his dad. He's mad at his employer. He's just, why are we going through all of this magical stuff? And it's a whole process for him. And so Betrayal of Eden then ends on a major cliffhanger that I'm not going to give away. I hopefully have not spoiled enough. I just did a reread, and so I went through and found all the things, because I've read book 2. I found all the foreshadowings. I found all the little notes that I want to look back at when I reread book 2, and just some phenomenal quotes, because it is really beautifully written. And Erin's, like, as reading through, I'm interested to see how her first couple books go, because these books that I've been reading have just gotten better each time I read another book by her. So then book 2, which just came out last month, is The Hunt of Calypso, and it continues the story from the first one. So if you have not read book 1, hop off now, hop to the last like 30 seconds of this video, because this is going to have some spoilers for book 1. I'm going to try my best not to do too much, but Hunt of Calypso continues the story of Eden and Hunter, and you continue to follow them. Let's see, I'm really trying not to be spoilery, because it is a second book in it, but it is even better and more adventurous. We go on quests. There's more magic. You delve into the magic system a lot more. You get a lot more character building for both Hunter and Eden. You get to see the hidden sea and all of that goes on, and also just the whole world as a whole, what it's like, and dive deeper into kind of some of the things going on, conspiracies and whatnot, of the different political groups of the different, I don't know how to say it. Anyways, there's pirates, there's magic, and a quest, and it is phenomenal, really, really good. It ends on a pseudo cliffhanger. It was a less stressful cliffhanger, let's put it that way, but I'm excited to see what happens in book 3 as we continue the Count of Monte Cristo retelling. So those are Erin Phillips' 6 books that I know of that are out. Whoops. And they so far have been phenomenal. I'm looking forward to reading her to 0 and finishing them up, but these 4 books I highly recommend. So go check her out. Have a blessed day.